waiting for quorum before I call the meeting to order, so there we go. So I'm calling the Tumwater City Council meeting of Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 to order. With that, we will perform roll call.
Councilmember Leetta Dahlhaus.
She's excused this evening.
Councilmember Angela Jefferson.
She's also excused.
Councilmember Joan Cathy.
Present.
Councilmember Eileen Swarthout.
Present.
Councilmember Michael Althauser.
He is excused tonight.
Councilmember Peter Agabe.
Present.
Councilmember Charlie Schneider.
Present.
Mayor Debbie Sullivan.
And I'm present. Join me in our flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Do we have anyone signed up this evening for public comment? Do we have anyone signed up?
We don't online.
Okay. Okay. I'm getting the sheet for public comment. Thank you. And is it Miles Cully?
No, it's Mike Cully.
All right, sorry.
Mike Cully, Tumwater Parks and Recreation Commissioner, actually.
Okay, that's what I thought, but it's like I'm trying to read. Okay, so 3 minutes, and go ahead and give your name and address for the record.
Mike Cully, my address is 7415 Fairview Road, number 32, Tumwater, Washington. And I won't need all 3 minutes because I wanted just to get up here just to tell Charlie, thank you for being a great friend, a great co-TYP person, and everything that you've done for the city and everything you've done for me. And you and Nancy have been just fantastic servants to the community. And I want to make sure that I got you something very special as a going away from your time here at City Council. And I thought long and hard, 5 minutes, I think, tops. And I was like, I got to think, because I know you don't want stuff. You want something that's very memorable. And so I know exactly what to get you. And it's right here for you. This is for you and Nancy to share. Okay. It's your very own large extra cheese pizza with pepperoni. Charlie and I sling a lot of pizzas during TYP, and I think we do like 40, 50 pizzas probably every TYP. And Charlie doesn't like cheese pizza. We always have a little contest of how many kids take his pizza over my pizza. And I think they like his pizza more than mine, but I want to make sure he got his own pepperoni pizza as a thank you. Thanks, Charlie.
Go ahead, and under these circumstances, yes.
Well, thank you, Mike. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So last time we had TYP, or the second last time, we fed 420 kids pizza, so we feed quite a bit. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think we have anyone else for public comment. No? All right. With that.
I just had somebody register, so let me just check.
Okay, hold on one
It says
second.
no comments, so we're
Okay, great. Next item is the consent calendar. Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent calendar.
I'll second that.
All right, it's been approved by a motion by Council Member Swarthout, seconded by Council Member.
Recording in progress.
Sorry, I realized I didn't start the webinar.
Okay, not a problem. Seconded by Council Member Schneider. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. All right, we have the consent calendar approved. With that, we have approved the minutes of the City Council work session of November 14th, 2023. Approval of minutes of the City Council meeting of November 21st, 2023. Payment vouchers. ordinance number O 2023-016, business and occupational tax update. Also interlocal agreement with a regional housing council for Franz Anderson project. Memorandum of participation in the firefighter injury and illness reduction fire pilot program. The 2024 legislative agenda, and cancellation of the December 19th regular council meeting. We will not be holding that council meeting, so council members will have an extra week of time with family and friends. So next is under council considerations, the service provider agreement with Thurston County EDC and Economic Development Services, and Austin Ramirez will be presenting.
Good evening. Thank you. I just wanted to brief council on some of the upcoming work we have at the EDC that is new for our typical scope of services in our regular service provider agreement. This is separate from the agreement for Thurston Strong Phase 2 that I'll talk a little bit about at the end. And we just heard from Michael Cade and Sean Moore not too long ago about sort of a look back on the year and the great impact they've had and the work we've done in partnership with them. And so this is a more forward-looking item. And so I really just wanted to talk about the 5 main areas that we're proposing we add to a scope of work in our regular service provider agreement, the EDC. The first is a convening of business roundtables to help us gather input for the economic development plan update. And so that sort of feedback is something we gather regularly throughout the year for our own business retention and expansion and recruitment purposes. But now it has an added layer of value, considering we're looking at updating our economic development plan and want to make sure it's responsive and evidence-based to the business community. The second new item for the scope of work is to convene leaders from the business and development sectors to help us provide input on redevelopment opportunities in the Brewery District and in the Capitol Boulevard corridor. That's really a result of the 2 grants we've received that I provided an update on the work session last week. A lot of those grants prioritize engagement and reuse planning. So thinking about putting together a group of thought partners that can help us validate and think through what's feasible and what's practical as we redevelop those priority sites and start on that journey. The third item that I'm really excited about is called the Innovation Cluster Accelerator Program. So that's a new development of the State Innovation Partnership Zone program that we were able to benefit from for the Craft District. And they've modified that to really now, instead of a site-specific program, think about what industry clusters. And in Thurston County, as we look at becoming more of a innovation-based economy and shifting from a resource-based economy, that really are our creative sectors and our makers. We're really lucky in Thurston County to have 4 pillars that we're calling them throughout the region: the Tumwater Craft District, the Olympia Armory, the Lacey Makerspace, and the Tenino Agricultural Park, that all sort of come together and form an ecosystem that help promote the maker community, and particularly around food and beverage and Tumwater is something that's been really exciting to see. So we are identified as one of only a few state pilot programs for that. And so the EDC has been tasked by the state with putting together and coordinating an ecosystem pilot team. And I'm one of the representatives on that team to represent Tumwater and our businesses. The fourth new item we're proposing is an annual $5,000 investment in the Lacey Makerspace, which, despite its name, has truly been a valuable and regional asset for Tumwater businesses and entrepreneurs. We have a lot of existing Tumwater businesses using those facilities now, testing new product lines, doing on-the-job training for current and future employees. So it's really become an asset for our Tumwater community, and we want to make sure we're supporting the continued build-out and expansion of that space. And then the last new item we're proposing for the scope of work is an economic impact analysis and report of the Tumwater Artisan Brewfest. We know it's a really fun event, and there's not many brewfests left post-COVID, but we want to be able to speak to the economic impact of that event. We're pulling in folks from all over the state, and in many cases, multiple states, and we want to be able to speak to what that does for our local community, the dollars it brings in, the investment it brings in, how it supports our local tourism industry, things like that. So we'll be working closely with the EDC on doing that analysis. That's something that is in their menu of services that they provide partners. So those are the 5 new items we're proposing for the new agreement. The only other thing I'll mention is Thurston Strong Phase 2. We'll be bringing that to council for a term extension early next year. That program has rolled out really successfully. We're continuing to be really thoughtful about how we deploy those dollars and very targeted. And then also the county is gearing up for another round of childcare operator grants. And so we'll be joining them with that effort. And so in order to accommodate that extra time, we'll be extending the term there. And again, that'll come to council early next year. So that's my item update. Happy to answer any questions or address anything else.
Any questions?
Can I just make a comment?
Yes, Councilmember Swarthout.
Thank you for the work that you're doing. This is really amazing. And I really appreciate like the 4 pillars that we're looking at it as a community-based program as well. So, so you're asking, will that be in our budget then, a budget request for the makerspace thing? And we'll be looking at that at our upcoming budget.
That's we've already budgeted the full amount every year for all of this.
But I thought, yeah, I knew we do EDC, but I didn't know.
Yeah, it'll be within that umbrella.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, any other questions or comments? Okay, with that, I would entertain a motion.
So I move that we is there a contract?
Can you see?
Yeah. Can you move your microphone just a little closer?
Okay.
Thank you.
I move that we approve the contract agreement with Thurston County EDC for the Economic Development Council services.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilmember Agabi, seconded by Councilmember Snyder. Any discussion on the motion? With that, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the construction contract with Reed Trucking and Excavation for the Israel Road Lenderson Way Water Main Project and a request for additional construction funds. And Bill Landauer is presenting. Sorry, I'll get your name right here.
Good evening. Oh, you can go ahead and set that up. Good evening, Council. My name is Bill Lindauer. I'm the Engineering Services Manager, and today I'm here to present on the Israel Road Lenderson Way Water Main Project, and it's a request to increase the change order authority from 10 to 20% for this project due to some cost overruns in construction. Am I using the wrong button?
Bill, you might want to bring your microphone just a little bit closer.
I'm having a hard time changing it.
There you go.
Okay, so I wanted to go through a quick project overview just for those that aren't familiar with the project. The project has 2 main components, a water main replacement and then a utility undergrounding improvement project. For the water main replacement, we're replacing existing water main on Israel Road and Lenderson Way, and then we're also upgrading all the service connections. For the underground utility work, we are undergrounding the PSC overhead lines, completing all the service upgrades, and then also moving any other utility purveyors down underground so we don't have any overhead utilities. So, this is a quick overview of the entire project limits. We have 4,700 linear feet of water main replacement that goes on Israel Road from I-5 to Capitol Boulevard, and then 950 feet down Lenderson Way, south of Israel. That's in the cyan. And then in the yellow is the limits of the underground utility trenching, which goes from Lenderson to Capitol Boulevard, just that one segment right there. So as far as the project, a quick project update, this project is in construction right now. So right now, the contractor has completed the PSC utility underground work. That's been approved by PSC, so all the vaults and the conduit have been installed. The water main has been installed on Israel Road and Lenderson Way. So those are in place, they've been tested, and are active at this time. and all of the water service connections to the private businesses and residences along the corridor have been completed. The work that we have to go in order to finish the project, we need to finish the water main connections. There are 16 connections left, and those are the actual connections that tie our new water main into the existing city system. That's about 2 weeks worth of work. Probably be finished around the 16th of December with that. The next stage is to abandon the existing line. That's being just abandoned in place. Then we'll complete it with some final sidewalk repair and pavement repair work. And we're expecting to have construction substantially complete by the end of December. It's kind of weather dependent right now, just because we are working in the winter months. We're here to talk about the actual construction budget of the project. The original contract award amount was $3,365,536.16. Currently, the city Tumwater Municipal Code 214060 provides change order authority for the director of 10%. That's the approved amount we have for the project. That is $3,702,089.78. We completed. We knew that we were kind of moving towards the 10% mark. So we went and we did projections of the project and how we think it's going to turn out in the end. Those projections show that the project will probably be around $3,884,352 by the time we're finished with the project, and that's about 16% over the contract award amount. So about 6% over the change order authority. So there are a number of, these are the major items that have caused cost increases on the project. And I was going to talk about each one of these here real quick just to give you an idea of what they are. So the school water connections, the school currently has a looped water system, and it doesn't have any isolation valves within their system. We have to make 2 connections to the school. One of the issues with the school right now is that they don't have any days where they don't have events. So it's really hard to get our contractor in there to do those connections. One of the solutions that we came up with is to go onto the school property within our easements, install 2 inline valves. These are specialized valves to be installed in active water lines. They're a little more expensive, but what it'll do is it will allow us to maintain water service to the school while also being able to isolate that system and make our connections into the main line. We do have to make those connections before we can abandon the existing water system. The second one on here is the pedestrian crossing upgrades. We had work up at Lenderson in Israel intersection, and the northwest corner of the intersection, we ended up having to do a lot more exploratory work to find utilities. We needed to tie into utilities. And as a result, we ended up having to remove a large amount of the curb return and the sidewalk ramps. When we started looking at it, in order to rebuild those ramps, per current ADA standards, we also have to upgrade the pedestrian signal system on that corner. So we have additional costs that we're going to need in order to upgrade the push buttons and the PED standards at that corner to get it up to standard. Our biggest issue has been our utility conflicts. Currently, we've logged about 25 actual utility conflicts where we've had to change design in order to get around utilities. That's also equated to about 25 additional working days on the project because it takes time for the contractor to deal with those. When we initially started work on design for this project, we spent a lot of time reviewing project as-built, running utility locates, working with our surveyor to get those on the plans, working with operation and maintenance to identify all of the utilities that are within the project limits, and also we completed a total of 48 utility potholes to locate utilities. And even though we completed all of that work, we're still hitting utilities pretty much every time we trench out there. The roadway is a really old roadway. It has a lot of utilities that people didn't know were there. And it also has a lot of abandoned utilities. It has storm systems that have been buried throughout the project site. There's an existing water line in front of the school that was buried that's been in conflict multiple times. And we also had, there was a sewer line that was installed on Israel Road that we had to modify that sewer line during construction in order to meet the new DOE standards for water sewer separation. So there's been a lot of items that have occurred with utility conflicts. Again, utility conflicts, when they occur, they slow down the project, they increase the project time. It takes time for us to come up with a solution, and it takes time and expense for the contractor to make a change, or a design change, and then actually implement that in the field. Again, that kind of roots to our temporary traffic control, which has increased in cost as the project timeline has extended. That also, the increase for temporary traffic control was also due to the fact that we weren't actually expecting to be building the project while school was in session, but because we hit so many utility conflicts and delays early in the project, that's moved our time frame out quite a bit. So we've had to implement more stringent traffic control measures during school just to deal with school buses and the increased traffic on Israel Road. The temporary patching, that is just a function of the more conflicts we've had, the more exploratory work we've done. We've had to patch the roadway more often. That's increased the cost. We also probably didn't estimate that totally. We didn't put enough in the original budget on that particular item. So we were probably estimated a little bit low on our temporary patching. Gravel backfill, the original intent on the project was to utilize as much native material as we could to fill the trenches. That worked pretty well at the beginning of the project, but as we started moving further from the school, we started to realize that we were getting a lot of unsuitable material in the strata, and it was really hard to separate that material from good material to poor material. So in the end, what happened was we had to switch to imported fill for the majority of the project, and that obviously increased the cost as we went. The advantage to that is we were using good material when we were filling the trenches back in, so hence, maintaining the structural integrity of the roadway. That was really why that call was made. And the last is just concrete curb and sidewalk, and that's been increased just due to more, we've been impacting the sidewalk and the curbing more than we expected just due to the changes that we've had. So we have had increases in the amount of concrete curb and sidewalk that we're having to replace as part of the project. One thing to remember is that I didn't mention before, but this project is a component of next year's Israel Road project. So completing all of this work is important so that we can move forward with the Israel Road improvements in 2024. So many items have been, have come up on this project. We're doing our best to manage the cost as much as we can and to kind of keep those costs down. And I think our projections are pretty close to where it's going to end up. So that's the end of my presentation. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Councilmember Snyder, then Councilmember Agabi.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Great presentation. So I have a question for you. It was my understanding today that the Tumwater High School had a gas leak. Was that due to the construction work, or is that something else?
It was, the contractor did hit a gas line, yes.
So is that going to be added cost to this project then, or is that figured into that?
Gas conflicts are usually dealt with directly with PSC. An example is that the first gas, they hit the gas line, they hit a 2-inch gas line, and typically the contractor works with PSC and they determine whether or not that gas line was located or not. If it's located and the contractor hit it, then usually the contractor's on the hook for those expenses. If it's unlocated, then they work it out with PSC typically. My understanding is that There's probably, I have to look into it a little more, but there's probably a high likelihood they did not know there was a gas line there.
Okay, thank you.
Which again is the challenge with this project is we're having a very hard time finding, knowing what is underground on the majority of the project.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Gabi?
So when are they going to be done with the road?
With the water project that we're working on right
The
now.
whole construction, when are they going to be done?
The road construction is scheduled to be. We are doing our best with the staff we have to have that project out to bid in February, March, and the idea is the goal is to have it built before the 4th of July. I mean, it's a pretty lofty goal, but I think it's 100% doable. We're making very good progress on that project right now.
So currently, they've backfilled the trenches. You just need to surface the road. Isn't that what they're doing? Are they doing any more excavation?
They have excavations that they'll be doing throughout the project at different connection points. That does bring up a good point. We are going to, anything outside of the road project for next year, we're going to do a full rebuild of that roadway section. For the areas on Israel Road that are part of next year's project, we're gonna go back and repatch any of the poor spots that are out there today, and then kind of leave it as is, because it only has to weather over like 3-4 months before they'll be back out there. So we're not using a bunch of money to patch something that we're going to end up removing anyway.
Thank you.
Will the reconstruction and the repaving of Israel, then, will that be part of our Transportation Benefit District funding for that one? That'll be part of our project?
I don't know if I can answer that exactly. I think
Okay.
it might be,
Okay.
but Brandon might be able to answer that.
I see Brandon popped online,
is.
so go ahead, Brandon.
So the funding for the separate road project next year is TBD funding is the match for a federal grant. So, but it is a grant leveraged by TBD dollars.
Nice. Good job.
Right. Any other questions? All right. Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to make a motion, the city council increase the change order authority provided to the Transportation and Engineering Director under Tumwater Municipal Code 2.14.060 from 10% to 20% for the Israel Road and Linderson Way Water Main Project.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Swarthout, seconded by Councilmember Agabi. Any discussion on the motion? Don't see any. With that, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion carries. Thank you very much. All right, we're just getting right through this. So with this, we're now to committee reports. And because we have a couple of council members absent this evening, we will, unless someone else has the information, Public Health and Safety Committee. What's that? Yeah, General Government Committee, that's Councilmember Althauser. And then we will do Public Works Committee, Councilmember Swarthout.
Thank you. We have an ambitious agenda on Thursday. I'm trying to get my agenda to come back up again. For the city, we have about 10 items on there, so we will be starting bright and early at 8 o'clock. And so I encourage everyone that wants to learn about Public Works to join our session.
Great, thank you. And there has been no Budget and Finance Committee meeting since our last meeting. So with that, we will go to Mayor, City Administrator report, and City Administrator Parks.
Good evening, council members. I'm going to try this from here this time, see if this works any better. So I have a couple of updates for you tonight, and happy to answer any questions as well. The first thing I'd like to share with you is that our Deputy Clerk, Brandy Legomina, is moving on from the City of Tumwater. She's been offered the position of Deputy Clerk at the City of Lacey. We wish her well. We're very sad to see her go. She's been a very valuable employee And we are in the process of trying to get that position hired as quickly as possible to make sure that we have good support for Melody moving forward. I also, of course, wanted to continue to kudos to the Parks and Recreation Department. TYP events, you heard from Councilmember Schneider how well those are attended. We continue to get positive feedback from our community also for the Active Adults program, as well as a lot of the kids' recreational programs, including the basketball program. So I want to make sure we take an opportunity to celebrate those items as well. And then just a reminder, the Santa Claus is coming to town. So Santa stops begin tonight. The first one is at Deschutes River Highlands. And the various stops happen through December 21st. And you can go to the city's website and Facebook page to identify the schedule. There's opportunities for photos with Santa Claus, as well as asking for support for the Thurston County Food Bank for people to participate in that event. And then just a couple of things with regard to our activities today based on the climate, the weather that we're having today. There has been some localized urban flooding. There was a road closure on Tyee Drive for a short period of time today. It has been reopened. There is an I-5 ramp closure on Trosper. That's expected to last through tomorrow. And then we continue to monitor weather conditions ongoing. I believe tomorrow remains on the list of days that have lots of wet weather anticipated. So great effort on the part of our crews, not only to get out and do the work, but our communication staff to make sure people understand what's happening out there in real time. And then just a couple of follow-ups with regard to the Israel Road project. There have been some issues today. The contractor did rupture the natural gas line. Tumwater High School students were evacuated out to the stadium. Tumwater Fire Department incident commander coordinated the response. We were very grateful for that. And then PSC was able to repair the line fairly quickly. However, that event will require some of the scheduled work that was anticipated for this week to be moved out. And so again, kudos to our project management team, including Bill and the folks down in TED, as well as the communication staff in helping to coordinate with our community members who are going to be affected by some of that work. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Great, thank you.
Great, thank you. All right, so for my report, we had a really great Christmas tree lighting ceremony last Saturday on December 2nd. And the weather actually held. It was actually a very nice day, no rain, you never know. And during that tree lighting ceremony, since it was Councilmember Snyder's final month, I had him do the official flipping of the switch of the tree lights. So that was, I think, a great, that was fun to do. And the crowds were great. All the schools that have choirs and music that perform at all the different sessions all afternoon long. It's just a really great event. And we had a reception earlier this evening for Councilmember Snyder. And I just want to go ahead and show that the plaque that we're presenting to him. And I will go ahead and give that to Councilmember Snyder. And then I will start with him on council reports, and then he can say a few words. So. All right, your microphone should be on.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone here in City Hall and those who are watching us remotely. It's hard to believe that my term as Tumwater City Council member is coming to an end and the next chapter in my life will begin. Having served both as a commissioner for Parks and Recreation and now as an elected official has given me the opportunity to be a voice for our community. Rest assured that although my term is coming to a close, my commitment to Tumwater and our community will continue through my volunteerism. During my 4 years in office, it's always been my intent to make the best decisions based on both the information I had at my disposal and the input from our community. At no time have I ever taken my duties and responsibilities lightly, knowing that whatever decisions we make as a council impacts our community not only today, but in future generations to come. So what have we done as a council during my 4 years in office? We passed 2 biennial budgets, held 2 council retreats, saw the opening of businesses at the Craft District, witnessed the future transformation of the Tumwater Inn to permanent affordable housing for low-income seniors in our community, approved construction of roundabouts at Trosper and Capitol Boulevard, addressed the issue of the pocket gophers and other endangered species as required by federal law, witnessed the opening of our first community gardens, and finally, the opening of Kindred Park, the city's newest park, and these are just a few of the things that come to mind. Having said that, I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for my family, my friends, neighbors, fellow elected officials, city staff, those who believed in me, and especially my wife, Nancy. A special thank you to my mom, who's in heaven, for introducing me and encouraging me to appreciate our political process at a very young age and for never taking it for granted. I will be forever indebted to each and every one of you as I move forward in my continuing effort to give back to our community, and I would like to thank each and every one who came out tonight for supporting me once again. In closing, I would like to share what continues to motivate me in my everyday life, and it is a quote from President Kennedy. It's not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That's what I live by every day. Thank you again, and God bless America. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, sorry, Councilmember Gabi, having you follow that. So your council report?
I'm going to have to skip. Well, Charlie, it's been my honor working alongside you and getting to know you, but we never did have coffee, so now you don't have any more excuse why you can't have coffee with me. So good luck on your retirement. And if you see Mickey at Disneyland, tell him I say hello.
I will. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mayor, back to more serious business. For this, my committee assignment, the only meeting that I had that is worthy of notice is the JASCOM meeting that I had yesterday, Joint Animal Services meeting. The meeting didn't last too long. It was kind of brief, but from our but we did accomplish our one major objective. We did pass a budget. The budget data for 2024 increased by 10% over 2023. And for Tumwater, allocation of that part of budget, I believe, is $175,000. So that is it for me.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Swarthout.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I attended the TRPC, the Thurston Regional Planning Council meeting on Friday, December 1st. We took action on approving the regional trails plan, and we also had an opportunity to look at the draft strategic plan for TRPC. And the most fun we had was playing the quiz game, the profile. If people don't know about the profile, it's on the EDC web or on the TRPC website. It's really fun, lots of data. If you like data, there's lots of data there. And so they were quizzing us on how well we knew our statistics. So the 2023 profile has been updated. So I encourage everyone to check it out. And that's my report.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Kathy.
Thank you, Mayor. I've had some cancellations of getting ahead of the holidays. Some of our committees closed down early. Anyway, I did not have a meeting in December for the solid waste or some of the other committees, but I will have general government and Olympic Regional Clean Air on the 13th of December. So I don't have any reports of reportable activity from those committees at this time.
Great, thank you. All right. Any other business? With that, we're going to have an easy evening. So this meeting is adjourned, and thank you, everyone.